Welcome to the Camping and Caravanning Club series of how-to videos. So you've been enjoying your motorhome throughout the main camping season, but winter is on its way and you're thinking of putting it into storage until next year. Camping and Caravanning magazine's test editor, Candy Evans, is here to highlight some of the things you might like to consider before you leave your van to make sure it's in top condition when you need it.
The first thing you'll need to think about is where you're going to store your motorhome over the winter. If you don't have space at home, look for a site that's got good security and ask about vermin control, because you really don't want to come back to find mice have been nibbling at your furnishings. As far as the motorhome itself is concerned, one of the main issues is low temperatures. If water is left inside when temperatures drop, it could freeze and expand, risking all sorts of damage. So you'll need to drain down all the systems. Start by opening all the taps. If you've got mixer taps, make sure they're in the central position so both the hot and cold water feeds will empty, and make sure all the water's out of the shower hose too. You'll probably need to check your handbook to find all the drain points, so make sure they're all open. Sometimes it's easier to park on ramps or a slope to make sure they're at the lowest point. Then you can run the pump for a while to clear out as much water as possible and switch it off when there's no more water coming out. You might like to install a drainage system like this one, which forces air through to blow out any remaining water. When you've finished, make sure the pump is off and leave the taps open over winter. You'll also need to make sure the waste system is clear and clean, and the toilet. Check the toilet's instruction manual for recommendations on how to clean and maintain it, especially if it's not in use for a while. If you've got a central heating system that's got water in it, then you shouldn't need to drain it down as long as it's been properly maintained. It's worth leaving all the drain points open to keep things fresh, but you might like to cover up the outlets to avoid any unwanted visitors getting inside. Close up your van completely for the winter, and you've obviously got to be careful of the security implications of leaving windows or a roof light open, but it's best to keep a good airflow if you can, to prevent damp. Open up the lockers so air can circulate from fixed vents, and fix covers on your fridge vents if they're provided. I'm sure your van is absolutely spotlessly clean, but it's worth spending a little extra time cleaning food services inside the fridge and similar, because any traces of food could go mouldy and attract vermin. Leave the fridge ajar. It may have an open setting, or you can just wedge it open. If you've got room at home, you might like to keep the cushions there rather than storing them in the van. But if you leave them inside, think about leaving them on their ends to allow air to circulate. Keep your auxiliary battery in an outbuilding or garage if you can, and charge it regularly to keep it in best condition. The commercial vehicles on which motorhomes are based are really designed to be used regularly, so ideally you should take your motorhome out for a decent run once a month or so, covering about 50 miles. But for most people that won't be practical. So check the handbook and see if there's anything that's recommended for a period of prolonged inactivity. It's likely to suggest things like making sure the fuel tank is full to prevent problems, increasing the strength of windscreen washer fluid to stop it freezing, and using chocks to hold the vehicle so you can release the handbrake and prevent the brakes seizing. Some people like to cover their motorhome when they leave it for any length of time. If you decide to do this, you'll want to make sure your van is completely clean before you put the cover on, so the fabric doesn't drag any bits of grit over the surface and scratch it. For similar reasons, look for a cover that's a good fit so it won't move in the winter winds. Also, try to find one that has a door opening so you can get inside to check things occasionally. An alternative is to use an overwintering solution, which you apply and then wash off with all the muck it's collected when you're ready to go out again.
If you found this video useful, be sure to check out others in our how-to series at the Club Magazine website or on our Club YouTube channel. Happy camping, caravanning and motorhoming.